Hey there, this is Dr. Jane with GILD Coaching, and today I am joined by a very special guest. She is a client of GILD's and someone I am honored to call friend, Natalie. Hello, Natalie.
Hi there, Jane. Hi.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. So, everybody, just so you know, I know you're just seeing Natalie for the first time. When she and I first came together, she first of all is a crackerjack sales professional and an entrepreneur. She is developing a product that she has a patent on, and she was experiencing quite a few mindset blocks and different little issues, and was had quite a bit of frustration. Right, Natalie? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, thank you, Jane, for having me. And again, I have a product that I've been working on for approximately 4 years now. It's a very act of love, and it's a kind of a hurry up and wait situation where, you're trying to figure out every step of the way, even though you don't know every step before it happens. When I met Jane, I am actually at a point where we were ready to trademark, actually come up with a name for this product. And I was struggling to find something that would be accepted by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, because it's evidently a lot more difficult process than you can possibly imagine. And, it was constant. My attorney would come back to us and say, oh, I'm sorry, that's got this attached to it and that attached to it, and you'll never get it approved. And then we'd go back to the drawing board and try again. And, it's kind of almost like creating Exxon or Coca-Cola, those names before they even ever existed. So what I didn't realize was that I was getting frustrated, and I was telling myself inside that this is impossible. I'm literally looking for a needle in a haystack, and it's never going to happen. And this is not just a couple of weekends worth of work. We're talking 2 years. Of the past 4 years, we have been trying and trying and trying and constantly getting turned down. I actually submitted a name to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and it came back with a flag. So again, back to the drawing board. And that was a 3-month process of just waiting, thinking we'd found a name. And I think the frustrating part of all of this was that I was feeling incredibly defeated inside. I thought this was never going to happen. I had come to the mindset of this was it. We're just never going to name it. And at this point, I don't really care anymore. So it was throwing a lot of negative energy into something that I have lived and died for 4 years. So I met Jane, and she's incredible. She got on the phone with me, and I didn't realize what she was doing. And I guess that's what's so sneaky about her. She's very sneaky about this, because she started asking me all these crazy questions about the product and where could I envision it being, and what are the end users, and what do they look like, and what are they doing, and we had our computers out in front of us, and we started just throwing out ideas and suggestions and names, and going and really looking at old ones that we had uncovered before, and what were the meanings behind them, and it literally kind of sent us down this rabbit hole of a 3-hour phone conversation of back and forth and back and forth. And as she continued to talk to me, I continued to get revitalized and energized, and realizing that this is not impossible. This is actually doable, and this is going to happen, and we're going to figure this out, because I've come too darn far to stop now. And so the exciting news is that we came up with a name that day.
Yeah.
And I sent it to my team. I have about an 8-person team currently, and every single person loved it. And the best news is I sent it to my attorney, and 2 days later, he said, my recommendation is you move forward. So thank you, Jane.
Yeah.
It really was the first step of feeling like this thing is going in the right direction. So and I have to brag on her a little bit, because this is what the sneaky little devil did. She realized that I had a block, a negative mental block that was keeping me from overcoming this. And she realized that by unlocking these blocks inside of me, I was going to open myself up to the possibility and the likelihood of coming up with something. I didn't know it at the time, but she sure did it, and it sure worked. So I owe you so much for this. I mean, you're getting one of the first ones to see.
And I'll use it. I can't wait to, help you tell the world. We can't tell you what the product is right now because it's still in development, but you guys are all going to love it and you're all going to want one. Everybody can use this.
So thank you so much, Jane. I can't, I mean, this has been a lifelong project, and you've just really helped just take it to the next level. So thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for letting me be part of it. And I'm just very excited that a huge product that's going to be a national name, like I was part of picking the name. So that's pretty awesome too on this side.
I'll have to name a dog or something after you.
Okay. Or one of the models or something.
But you really, I mean, this is something that, probably a lot of people don't realize how important it is about not having these negative mental blocks, and the value of, how easy it is to unlock them and not carry them around. I mean, it goes with everyone.
It does. It does. And when we first started working together a while ago, there were a lot of things going on in your life, not just business wise, but there was a lot of personal stuff going on in your life. And you made really, I want to say really an energetic, just genesis to, it almost feels like you're leading a different life through an elevated mindset now. So can you talk about that journey just from a personal level?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I kind of didn't have the best 2018, let's just all be real, from bad relationships to a broken arm to other challenges in my life. But I made it kind of my mission just to get rid of any and all negativity and just not keep carrying it around, and started doing lots of like positive affirmation statements, to begin my day, to end my day. Would stop myself if I started getting down or negative, and just really started, valuing, the positivities and the positive, potential of my future. And when I really started, having those things happen, it's interesting. I started seeing these crazy little manifestations of, I started seeing 111 or 1111 all the time. And I did do some research, and it says that you're about to embark on a positive new adventure in life. And so, that was just one more step that just kind of confirmed the fact that I'm on the right path. And, you hear people talk about, well, once I started doing these things, everything started happening in a positive light. Well, guess what? That's just the truth. It does. And I'm living it. I'm in the middle of living it. And it's just, if this is just the beginning, I can't wait to see what the next, year or 2, 5 years from now has to hold for me. So, and this is thanks to this lady right here. So you are invaluable. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. If there was something that there's so much talk these days about law of attraction and what you were just talking about, manifesting, turning your dreams into a manifested reality. If there's somebody out there who's like, yeah, I've tried that and it doesn't work, and that's just a bunch of hoo-ha, what would you tell them about, just think about where you were 12 months ago right now on that topic and where you are now. It's so much easier to see the reality of it when you're on the other side. But if there's somebody who's like, it just won't work for me, what would your guidance be for them?
Well, I think that it's a couple of things. I mean, I think part of it is, nothing comes easy in life, nothing. And, I had a friend of mine the other day who is going through a pretty bad divorce, and she's like, I just don't want to be alone. I just want to magically snap my fingers and meet that guy and everything fall into place. And I'm like, that's not how it works. I've lived it. I know this. You have to go through some really hardships and negativities in order for those to help shape you and form you. I mean, my biggest pitfalls and challenges in life are the things that have made me the strongest, the smartest, the bravest. They've allowed me to overcome things. And it's interesting because now I can look back on those things and I don't even recognize that girl. I tell people that knew me a long time ago, I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't recognize me from back then because I'm way different now. And, but it took having to go through the hardships, having to go through the tough times, having to challenge yourself, and the other thing that I've done is I've made some changes. If a friend is not a true, genuine, good friend, then I just let them go. They weren't meant to stay in my life for forever. And surrounding myself with positive people and good people. And if those things aren't working for you, then try something different. Join a different gym or pick up a new hobby or, try something open up your computer and start writing. You never know if you've never written before. It's a lot of times it's trying to, try these new things. I mean, a lot of anxiety is just fear of the unknown. And so sometimes when you can just try something new, try something different, your whole life can change very quickly. I mean, my life right now is so different than it was a year ago. So different. And it's not because I did these grandiose, skydiving adventures. I just started hanging out with a new group of people and trying some new things. And, and I did some things that scared me a little bit. I took my daughter to Paris with a broken arm. Not many people do that. And she's not grown, I can assure you. So, just sometimes just trying little things to help, change your life can really open a door to a whole nother path that you never thought you couldn't even imagine happening and existing. So yeah. I guess that would be that's a very long answer to a very short question.
That's great. No, it's part of our process. It's what we've talked about, for months, that pattern interrupt that can really help feed the reprogramming of your subconscious patterns, and it's part of what we've worked on. It's part of what we've talked about. And you are the proof that's in the pudding. You're a true testimony to the fact that doing that, putting those, it doesn't even have to be a trip to Paris, even though that seems like a pretty, that seems like a pretty awesome.
Water park down the street.
You what?
Then you can go to the water park down the street.
Yeah. Like, I mean, just pattern interrupts that I do are, okay, it's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday and I never do X, Y, or Z at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. So I'm just going to make myself do that today. And it's really very important for all of us to figure out what pattern interrupts will help reprogram our subconscious, because 90% of the thoughts that you think today are repeats of yesterday. And so the only way to break those patterns, and that is the real reason that those people who say, oh, it just never works for me, they're not interrupting that repeated thought pattern enough to enact real change. So, I mean, bravo to you. You are just a star, and I'm so proud to be part of your journey and honored, and cannot wait to see where you are in a year and 3 and 5 years.
I know. We'll have to do an update for sure. So
definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, Natalie, thank you so much for being with me today. And is there anything else that you want to say to the GILD family?
I think probably one of the first things that you ever told me, and I've never forgotten it, is you said, if you're going to do this, it's going to take 2 things: hard work and dedication. And I think that those couldn't have been more true, because I think that in order to have really genuine change in your life, you have to be willing to have hard work and dedication and be committed. And I've never forgot that. So that's one thing I will take with me for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And you're allowed to have not so awesome days, because you're human, but then you can just get out of it.
Yeah, it's as long as it's just a day or 2. Not every day.
Right. And there's a little bit of fun woven in there.
Absolutely, yeah. Some of my most fun times have happened just in the last year as I've started changing my life. I mean, it's amazing how incredible some of my adventures have been. So, and I know it's because of my mindset's changed.
Yeah. Well, you are inspiring. You're an inspiration to me, and who knows who this will inspire. So thank you so much for being open and authentic and being part of GILD.
Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Bye.